Hey, everybody. Welcome to Teach Me Tuesday. I am actually really excited to be with you guys today. I think the name might be not quite so appropriate for today. I think maybe Share With Me Tuesday might be more apropos, although it doesn't quite have the same ring to it. But the Sparrow team, who's been putting these on for the last, I guess, month or so now, asked me to share a little bit about the Sparrow journey and kind of how we've come to be where we are. And so I'm excited to just give you guys a little bit of a background of kind of our team and how we came to be, and maybe talk a little bit about some of the behind the scene efforts that goes into actually developing what is to be your home, or maybe you're already in one of our projects. And so I'm really glad to be here. And I just want to say from the onset, it is really a privilege to have your trust. Those who are living in one of our properties or thinking about moving in, prospective residents. We really do consider it a privilege to be able to build your home and come alongside you guys in your journey, and hopefully make it a place where you really do experience great community and meet new friends, and maybe have experiences that you've never new experiences, all of that. So thank you guys for the opportunity to do that, and for entrusting us with your home. So I've got a little bit of a slideshow. I'll probably be kind of all over the place. But I did want to talk a little bit about the Sparrow journey. I love this quote. I ran into this quote from John Steinbeck, and a journey is a person in itself. No two are alike. And we find that after years of struggle that we do not take a trip takes us. I thought that was pretty apropos for kind of Sparrow's story and how we've come to be where we are. And I'll just share a little bit of some of my personal experience, and tell you a little bit about how we came to be. About 6 years ago, I actually was making a big pivot in my career, and I was leaving a world of the stock market and trading, and decided to pivot into something that I knew I wanted to get involved in real estate. And when I met who are now my co-founders and partners, Matt Heiniger and Jeff Patterson, I knew that this was the beginning of something pretty special. And one of the first couple of weeks that I was working with Matt and Jeff, I heard this term Iolite. And I was asking the question, what is independent living light? And Matt and Jeff were talking about, it's this new kind of senior housing. There's really not a lot of it out there. Jeff had some exposure to it out on the West Coast and had sold some active adult properties. And Matt was telling me about, it's senior housing, but without all of the meal components and the transportation services. And it's really for those that are just looking for kind of a lower maintenance lifestyle. And I thought, man, that's a really neat idea. And in fact, I'd never heard of it. And I started asking my mom questions. Hey, what do you think about this type of product? Would you be interested in it? And then we got the opportunity to actually manage a property, active adult property in Houston. And this was 2014, 15. And, one of the first experiences I had was just kind of sitting in the clubhouse and listening and talking to residents and asking them the question, what do you love about living here? And invariably, it seemed like the common answer was something to the effect of, well, it's the people. I love the new friends I've made. I love the team, the management team, the maintenance folks. All of them are just so kind, and I just really found community here. And so for me, in my personal journey, that was when I felt like this is something that I can really get excited about. I kind of left the world of trading, and I wanted to find something that was more tangible and something that I felt, I could really connect to the mission behind. And so that was kind of the beginning spark of what is this, what we used to call Iolite. And now, of course, we call it active adult. And it was really interesting too, because at the time we had the opportunity to help sell this project. From the owner was selling it. And so we would meet with prospective investors, and both on the traditional senior side as well as conventional multifamily. And all of them were kind of like, so what really is this? Is this senior housing? Is this multifamily? And the answer was like, no and no, it's different. And so that kind of began this journey of, okay, well, this is a really exciting opportunity to what we think is go into a space that provides a real experience of community and home, and there's just not a whole lot of it out there. And so we decided, as you can see the picture here, let's go for it. And so I like to describe some of the initial journey as, Matt and Jeff had been stewing on this business plan with, on the edge of the proverbial cliff, ready to jump. And I was like, all right, let's do this. Came along and let's jump. And so we tried to do our best to really listen to the residents at the project that we were managing, had some focus groups, and just tried to listen. And in fact, I remember one time we were naming the property. It was getting renamed because it had new ownership. And I got to interact with a bunch of the residents, and that was so fun to hear kind of why they wanted to name it different names. And I remember having a speaker and standing in the middle of probably 60 or 70 residents, and just listening to some of their stories. And it was a great time. And so I've just really enjoyed personally getting to know some of you all along the way, and hear your journeys and how you've come to where you are in life. And we've got a lot to learn from you guys. So we continue to hopefully listen, and we want to understand how we can make the home even better, design it better, operate it better, all those things. And so you can see here on the screen some of the early stories of us. Some of the, when you're first trying to do something kind of new, everyone wants to know, well, how many of you have you done? If I'm going to give you money to invest in this, I need to know how experienced you guys are. And so I guess in some ways, maybe we had a competitive advantage because we didn't come in with some of the typical assumptions that you bring to development. And we kind of started from scratch. And so we set aside a lot of those presumptuous things that go into development. And we said, let's take a fresh look at this, and where do we think we should develop, and what sites should we select, and how do we design the floor plans, and what amenities make sense, and all of that. So that was the beginning of what led to a very exciting journey. And then, you go into this stage of, okay, now we got to do the hard work, right? And you got to go find a site. And so this is a picture of an early rendering of our Stone Oak project, which was one of our first sites that we identified. And I remember we were driving around this area and looking for a site in North San Antonio in 2015. And this project has been a labor of love. A lot of blood, sweat, and tears have gone into this one. So if you have reserved a home here at Stone Oak, thank you. We're so excited to actually see this become a home for you guys. It's a beautiful project, a beautiful location overlooking the canyons. But it was not an easy one. We had just about everything you can imagine go into this project in terms of complicating the deal. In fact, I remember one time we asked our civil engineer, hey Nick, how does this rank in terms of complicated projects that you've worked on? And he's been, an engineer for 15 or 20 years. And I remember him saying, well, Luke, let me put it this way. I keep a file of all of the projects that I've worked on, and I can tell, and I've got a number of emails associated with each project. And he said, this project has 2 times as many emails as my second place project. And I just told him, you're welcome, you're welcome. But so we've encountered just a lot of obviously bumps in the road trying to get projects underway. And so multifamily is a 4-letter word. You can imagine going into, you know, a staff, city staff planning meeting and trying to pitch a deal where you're saying, look, we're not traditional multifamily. We don't have nearly as much traffic as you're used to, and no, we're not going to flood your schools and all those things. So it seems like in all of these meetings, a lot of these folks would look at us like, well, we've got a category for this, and we've got a category for that, but we don't really have a category for, what do you call it, active adult? And so we've run into a lot of that over the last 6 years. And, you know, so one of the things that we quickly learned is we said, look, we think for us to really do this well, we want to develop a company that's fully integrated. And what do I mean by that? Well, not only do we want to develop the project, identify the sites and design them and get them ready for construction, but we also want to have construction in-house. We want to have our sales and marketing team, operations team, everyone working together collectively. And we think that's really important because, you know, at the end of the day, going back to what I said when I first met some of the residents at the project that we manage in Houston, at the end of the day, you know, sticks and bricks and beautiful buildings, you can do that all day, but if it's not a place where really exciting activity and community is happening, then you know, you're not going to really create a place where people feel like this is home and something different. And so for us to do that well, we decided, you know, we're at our best when we're listening to each other. And so on the development side, we need to really be listening to the construction teams. And when they tell us, look, that's going to cost too much money, well, we know, well, then we can't offer the rent level that we want to be able to offer because it's no longer going to become affordable. And then, you know, we need to be listening to the operations team when they tell us, hey, this amenity area, they're really not using this, or the residents love this, we need more of that. And so we have this feedback, this internal feedback, to where each iteration of each new project that we go into, we can hopefully make it better than the last. And so, you know, being integrated, we're all working towards the same goal, and we feel like ultimately that's the way we can create real value for all of you guys. So here is actually a picture of, this is, which project is this? I'm going blank. Oh, this is Tavola Park. Yeah, this is, no, I'm sorry. This is, yeah, there's Vintage Park. I'm sorry, I was throwing out there. Vintage Park that's under construction in Houston. And we're looking forward to moving our residents in here at the end of the year. And then we've got our Keller project that just moved in the first residents earlier this year. And you can see the pickleball court, and then we've got some raised garden beds back there in the left side. And then this is our project in Surprise, Arizona, our first of a number of new projects that we're looking forward to in the Phoenix area. And then the other part that's really exciting about this project is that we're actually on a college campus, and we've been working toward partnering with the university there in establishing a program where our residents can mentor incoming freshmen and maybe take classes, volunteer at the sporting events, you know, be ushers at the sporting events. And then, you know, this is something that, again, going with from the beginning, when we find a site, we're trying to figure out how do we collaborate with the community at large, and what are the surrounding, you know, universities or opportunities for us to come alongside of you guys and figure out volunteer opportunities or ways to really make this more than just an apartment, but really a lifestyle. So I thought I'd share just a little bit about kind of the process of, how we go through design and what it looks like. And, it really is a team effort. I mean, there is, as you can imagine, so many people that go into making this a reality. We've got a great team of architects and landscape architects, and then our interior design team with Gracie and Esther. Some of you have probably met them, and all the incredible work that they do to really make the project cohesive and tie in together. And maybe some of you guys have met with Gracie and Esther and the focus groups, or heard them trying to solicit what kind of colors and things you guys are interested in, and showing, a real interest in how do we design the furniture so that it's comfortable and really lasts a long time. So we have all of this team that goes in together and works for 7 or 8 months to actually design the building, and then you take another 4 or 5 months to get it all approved. And so from the time you actually find a piece of dirt to where you're thinking, well, this might actually work, well, then you got to go get it approved and get it rezoned, and that usually takes 4 or 5 months. And then of course you're designing alongside that, and then and only then, after you close on the land and close on the construction loan and design the building and get it permitted, you can actually start construction. And so it really is, from the time you identify a project from when you actually get to see people move in, it's, it can take up to 3 years, or in Stone Oak's case, maybe 5 years. So just know that if you're about to move into one of our projects, there's just a whole army of people that have gone into what I believe is a really thoughtful design process. And we've got an in-house architect named Chuck, and he is as good as they get. And he is constantly improving and making our floor plans better, and coming up with new ideas to make the amenity spaces even nicer. And so we're always asking ourselves, how do we create spaces where real community can happen? How do we have little breakout spaces in the courtyards where 4 to 6 folks can gather and be in the shade and drink coffee and enjoy something beautiful, right? And so all of that is kind of this merging of hospitality and multifamily design to where we create a space where we don't have a bunch of disjointed buildings that are separated by parking lots and not very accessible for our residents to connect to one another, but instead we have what we call kind of this suburban wrap product, where everything's connected. You can get to the clubhouse under roof, or you can walk down the hall and meet with your friend easily, and that there's common gathering spaces where lots of community is easily, is facilitated well. And so all of that design is really something that we've been working on for years. And so Gracie and Esther, sorry, I had to put this up, but I kind of stole one of our design boards for our Mesa project, which we are hoping to break ground on later this year. But this is just an example of just some of the, the detailed thought that goes into even accent walls and color schemes. And so we just have an incredibly talented interior design team who puts a lot of thought and effort into this. In fact, Esther, before she starts a project, she decides that she's going to have kind of an album or a theme that's going to inspire the color and the mood and everything that she wants to go into a project. And so I can't remember the band that was, or the album that was for this design board, but this is a beautiful, beautiful project. I can't wait to see this come to fruition. And here's some more. You can see, the clubhouse first floor finishes here, and all of the great colors and design that goes into that. And then finally we get, it becomes a home. And so here's a picture of the grand opening that we had a couple of years ago at our Cedar Park project. And this was a fun day. In fact, I got a couple of my kids got to come here and meet some of you all. And what a great group, just such an encouraging crowd. I really enjoyed spending some time with you guys that day and hearing some of your stories. So that was a fun time. So in the end, I think one of the things that I was thinking about when I was talking to myself, what do I really want to communicate to our residents about Sparrow? I thought, well, we worked so hard to put together kind of our mission, vision, and values, and I wanted to make sure that you guys saw that. So, life is short. Work with people you enjoy. And so Sparrow exists to create thriving communities by having a passionate and steadfast commitment to our residents and a common pursuit of excellence in design, construction, and management. And then you can see we live and work by the following values: put people first always. Say what you mean and do what you say. Remember, every day you're doing something that matters. I think that's key, right? Because no matter what we're doing with our jobs, you gotta, as they say, dig the damn ditch, right? At the end of the day, a lot of the tasks are not very exciting, and oftentimes not very rewarding. But it really is. It's good to work alongside people and to remind each other to connect to the ultimate vision, which is, we're building a place where community can happen, a home. So treat everyone equally, practice hard, pass the ball, be a team player, and have fun. I feel like we do that well. I think one of the things that's probably unique to Sparrow that I really love is this team approach. It really is a collective effort to move all of these spinning plates at the same time, keep them in the air and move the proverbial ball forward. It's something that takes a lot of collaboration, and so our namesake Sparrow, I think it really is a perfect name for us, because we have a bunch of projects at various stages of design, and we're all relying on one another to kind of carry out each respective task. It's kind of, the football analogy plays out well with development, because you kind of, you huddle up and then you have this mass chaos, then you huddle up again. Sometimes it's quiet, and again, it's just this long chaos. But in a football play, if everyone's not doing their job, then obviously the play just can't be executed. And I think it's similar for us, from construction, development, operations. We could build the most beautiful building in the world and execute perfectly on the construction side. But at the end of the day, if we don't have people there that are really taking care of you guys, taking care of the building, and really providing great hospitality, then it's all for nothing, right? So what is a sparrow? This small bird often symbolizes joy and protection, but it also can be a symbol of simplicity and community. Sparrows can appear in groups, providing safety and security, while teamwork and hard work are what makes sparrows productive. They are known to live in community, cooperating among themselves and sharing their responsibilities. And sparrows are industrious, cooperative, protective, and adaptable, all while exhibiting and bringing joy. Sparrows are songbirds. At Sparrow Partners, we take great pride in our namesake, and we endeavor to emulate these traits in all that we do. So with that, I just, sorry for the scatteredness of that presentation, but I hope you got a little bit of a sense of kind of who we are as a company, how we came to be, and I hope you get to meet a lot of our great folks, because we've got a bunch of neat people that are, you will probably see a lot more than I will, that are a lot more than me, that are actually in the building all the time and serving you guys and taking care of all that goes into making your experience hopefully something that's really meaningful and memorable. So thank you guys for giving me this time. I think we're going to open it up to maybe some questions now.
So we have 5 questions, and I'll get started with the first one. So as the Sparrow portfolio grows, what measures will be taken to ensure that the standard is kept the same?
You know, I would almost say we're not keeping it the same. I think we're getting better. Really, we've got a team of people that are very talented that are now working with us that maybe weren't here, 3 or 4 years ago. Just thinking about our in-house capabilities with architects and the interior design team. And so I would say, if anything, I think we're progressing towards design that's going to be even more thoughtful. And now that we've got, all of our residents that are actually living in these spaces, we can hear from you guys and really understand, like I was saying, what areas, what amenities you're actually using versus not, and how do we grow those spaces. So one small example is, in our Phoenix projects, we're creating a space that's connected to our clubhouse. It's kind of this true third-party room where our residents could have a private meeting. It's not in their residence, but it's it's accessible from the outside, and they can have a meeting with their financial advisor, and have a well check with their doctor, or go do a telemedicine session, or get a massage, or all these things. So just creating some flexibility in the use of various spaces. And really, the clubhouse is designed to be kind of an extension of our residents' homes, so that they can, obviously it's open 24/7, and really there for them. So.
Perfect. So when someone hears the word Sparrow Living or Sparrow Partners, what is the first word that you would want to pop to their mind when they think of us as a company?
That's a good question. I like the word community. I think that's just really appropriate for obviously what we're building. We like to call them communities, and we'd like to think that real community is happening. But also, I think the work that we're doing to create those community is done in the context of community, and we don't really have these kind of go it alone. Everyone does everyone contributes, and so I like the word community. I think that's a good one.
I agree. I think that's the most fitting since being here, for sure. So what are some new design initiatives that Sparrow has been working on with their new projects to ensure the services our residents desire are offered?
I talked a little bit about kind of that space that we're designing off of the clubhouse. I know one. So we've got, some of the early feedback we got was, hey, these classes, these fitness classes are a big hit. So let's really design a space that's designated for that, these wellness studios that we're calling them, and really, kind of dress them up. So we've got all of the equipment in there, outfitting it with, the right type of flooring. So it's a true wellness, and it's also positioned to where, it's oriented towards the courtyard. And so you've got this wall of glass, and you look out onto the pools. And so that's been one example of kind of a new design standard that we've implemented. And then the other thing that's really neat is, it seems like the back porch was a big hit, right? We have a lot of residents hanging out in the rocking chairs underneath the covered area, looking out into the pool. And we thought, man, we need to bring that on the front too. So now we've got kind of double the covered space off of the clubhouse. So in the front, where there's the club lounge, you can kind of see people coming and going off of the porte-cochere area. But also on the second level, where the library and game room are, there's an outdoor seating area there. So I think that'll be well received with new residents.
Yeah, I thought
Vintage Park will have the first of that. So you Vintage Park residents, get ready. I think you'll like it.
So I know you touched a little bit on the collaborations that we're starting. Can you go into a little bit more detail on some of the exciting collaborations that we're going to do for the resident experience?
Yes, and a lot of this is just early in the works. And we've been partnering with someone who's actually a dear friend of mine, and also it's been working a lot with HEB and some local hospitals for partnerships there. So I can't divulge too many details yet, but I will say there is a lot coming your way. One of our goals is to really make your life easier. So you come in and maybe instead of you having to go get groceries can come to you. Maybe instead of you having to go to your doctor's office, the doctor can come to you. So a lot of the conveniences that maybe you didn't have by living in a home because you're with us, that's the type of stuff that we're looking to. But then also, like with the surprise project, opportunities, one of the things we want to do is listen to you guys well. And every project, every location is going to have a different group of people that are interested in different things. And so, I think if we're doing our job well, we'll hear what you're interested in and figure out ways to help facilitate that. And so we suspect that a lot of our residents in Surprise, which sits in the Surprise City Center, which is surrounded by all these amazing amenities, we think they're going to want to volunteer at the spring training games with Ottawa University, be chaperones at sporting events, those type of things. And so it's our job to make sure that those volunteer opportunities are just easily available for you, and we can help facilitate those. And also maybe if you want to take classes, lifelong learning initiatives, mentoring income freshmen, those type of things. So
I'm excited to see those.
Yeah.
So last but definitely not least, probably the most important question. So what would you tell a prospective resident that's considering making a move from owning their home to moving into one of our properties?
Yes, great question. So, I'm guessing a lot of you guys, especially the people who ask that question, they're like, I don't know if I want to make this jump. This is a big leap. I've lived in my home for 20, 30 years, however long, and moving, nobody likes to move. I get that. But I can tell you that I have talked with a number of residents, and there's stories that abound. And I think a lot of our operations team could tell you probably 20 stories for every one that I have, but where there was a lot of hesitancy around selling your home and going into this new space. And then I hear stories, months later where residents are sharing like, man, I wasn't sure, but this has really been an incredible experience. I've met new friends. I took Tai Chi for the first time. I remember a resident telling me, she said, she's like, I just got back from the doctor and my blood pressure is the lowest it's been in years. And she said, you know why I think that is? And I said, no, why? And she said, well, I've been taking this art therapy class that you guys are offering, and it's really been a stress reliever. And she's like, I've never done anything like that before. So I think, it is something new, and I think we're all a little bit reticent to try new things. But I will say you're going to be amazed at probably how much you don't miss taking care of your home. A lot of the maintenance surrounding your house. And, we believe one of the things that I always say is life is contagious. And I think that most people really want to engage with others and do new things and try new things, but it's hard to do that. It's hard to jumpstart that. But to the extent that you see other people doing that, and maybe it just takes one friend, maybe you just make one friend at the property that encourages you to come and do that Tai Chi class, or play in the weekly poker game or whatever it is. But I think that can build upon itself. And so that's one of the things that I love about our courtyard design is that, everyone that's out on their balcony, they can kind of see what's going on in the courtyard, whether it's a happy hour party or game yards going on, lawn games going on, or water aerobics, or maybe a band's playing, or I saw Cedar Park had a big dance party, social distancing dance party. Whatever it is, I think that's this invitation to come into a more active lifestyle and one of community. And And my hunch is that you're never going to regret that. You're not going to regret that decision to kind of step outside your comfort zone, meet new friends, try new experiences. And I think that'll add a lot to your life. And so I would just say, go for it. I think it's a great opportunity. My mom, I describe my mom as the opposite of the early adopter. She's probably not going to be the first one to make that jump, but her best friend, Suzanne, might make that jump. And then she might hear from her friend how great it is. And then she'll come, and so if you're out there wondering, is this for me? Maybe you've got a friend that's living in one of our properties, talk with them and hear their story, because all the stories I hear are really pretty encouraging. And so I think it's worth the risk.
Well, thank you so much, Luke, for joining us. I know this was really, really helpful and informative to a lot of our residents and our prospective residents. And to everyone watching on Facebook Live, if you have any other questions, feel free to comment, and we will share with Luke or your on-site team and get you some answers and more information. But we are also excited to have you join us. And thank you again, Luke, for being here.
Thanks, Melissa. Appreciate it. Thank you, guys. It's fun.
Goodbye.
All right. See y'all.